Music from Africa, Spain, France, Japan, China, heck, even songs and artists from the United States itself. So join me every Saturday at 11 a.m. only on the KSJE 90.9 FM.
.31 KSJE. It's Wednesday morning, and joining me here in our visual radio studio to talk about a subject near and dear to her heart, Cathryn Abeyta is here from the San Juan United Way to talk with me about Grad Coaches. Cathryn, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for coming in. This is something I've wanted to talk about on the air for a long time because it's a great program having great success, and I think it's important to celebrate these successes in the community, and this is a pretty innovative program, and it came from you and some others I know that are working on it. So talk to me a little bit about what Grad Coaches is all about for our audience.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, it started out of our Leadership San Juan class project, and class of 2016. And so our project was to really look at our real struggling graduation rates in the county. At the time, at FHS, their graduation rates were they were less than the state average, and they were around 66%.
Right.
Those averages and those graduation rates are really, really complex, and there's a huge algorithm on how they calculate it. And it's less than fair, we can say, but nonetheless, we still, there's a need, and what we wanted to do was figure out how, as a community and community members not in the education system, how can we help support the schools, and more importantly, how can we help the families and students who are struggling the most, and they're struggling, and their struggles are impacting their ability to do well in school and be on track to graduate high school.
Gotcha. So you came up with this whole idea to have adults kind of go in and help with some of these more at-risk students to mentor and coach them, right?
Yes.
To stick with it and to stay in school and to stay focused, I think, right?
Yes.
Is that kind of what you found?
Yeah, and so what we did in the first year, we learned so much, and we were able to bring that all back the second year. So last year, we worked very, very closely with Farmington Municipal Schools and Farmington High, where we were able to do a lot of partnering on with their tutorial classes. And the tutorial classes are actually an incredible opportunity that we saw for these students who are struggling. So it's traditionally kind of like a study hall. However, what they've done at FHS is expanded that to be more than studying and more of teaching soft skills and more getting these students, getting them prepared to graduate, because the truth of the matter is that many of these students struggle with they struggle with more than just academics. So they're struggling with transportation to school. They're struggling maybe even with having enough food at home when they get there. They're struggling with not having the resources even to pay for, their credit recovery classes, and a lot of struggles. And sometimes the struggles are things that many of us adults have never experienced. And so what we're really trying to do is bring a new perspective to the students in their senior year to help them transition a little more softly into the workforce, or into college, or into a trade, or an apprenticeship, or whatever is going to be best for them so that they can be successful.
Right. Okay. And so, as I mentioned, the results have been really amazing, I think, even maybe surprising you and members of the team that are doing this.
Absolutely.
Of just how well this has been received by the students and how well it continues to perform at Farmington High School. That's the one school that you're working with, right? That's why we're all focusing on FHS.
Yeah, we're really piloting it at FHS, and it's not because of any other reason than FHS has really just they've really kind of doubled down and said, what can we do to help? And we're really using this opportunity to pilot this program so that we can put it into a package that can be taken to every high school in the county. It could be taken anywhere, because it's really dependent on having a caring community.
Sure. But you need those volunteers in order to make it make it work. And so that's
do.
another part of this equation, right? Is you
It
have to have
is.
those coaches.
It is, but it's also, I think, directly related to the success that we've had because so many people want to get involved. That's really one of the most enjoyable parts of this process is how many people in the community just want to get involved, whether it's donating or whether it's volunteering as a grad coach. So last year, we were able to pair 34 seniors with grad coaches, and actually it was 35
Okay.
we worked with real hard,
All
and
right.
34 of them graduated, that's pretty incredible. We didn't expect that, and so we're so proud.
That's
And-
wonderful. And I don't
yeah.
think the schools expected that either, did
No,
they?
I don't think anybody. No,
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
quite think anybody did. But
Not that we
it's-
don't want 100% graduation, but I
Right,
mean, it's just the
right.
reality of the numbers that these
Right.
school folks have been working with and would say, well, this population, this at-risk population, maybe you get 60% of them, but not
Right.
95.
Well, and out of these students, they're identified by the schools. We work with a wonderful teacher there. Her name's Gina Atencio, and with the partnership of the school administrators and the counselors there, they all identify who in that senior class is most at risk of kind of slipping through a crack or really just needing somebody to support them in order to graduate. And these are students who show up and yet are not on track to graduate. Many of them have about 6 to 9 credit recovery classes to make up, which means that somewhere in their high school career, they failed 6 to 8 or 9 classes and have to take those in addition to the regular classes that they're taking every day. So.
All right. As a senior, so
As
this
a
is all
senior. So
crammed
it's
into
all-
their
yes.
year, this final
And-
school year, hopefully.
Yes, and most of them wait until the senior year because now there's the urgency, but this is also where they stand to lose the most if they don't catch up.
Sure. And so there's 3 components, right, I guess, that you're working on with the coaches.
Well, these are the components of tutorial, which is actually, it's very similar to what we're doing as coaches, but
Okay.
this is a little bit more focused on the schools. So
I see.
Internally with the schools, the biggest things that we look at to identify students and to get them back on track are credit recovery, which is what I just explained.
Right.
Some case management, which really is identifying, when we identify these students, we're able to know, a little bit more on a personal level what their challenges are and
Right.
how we can help overcome them.
Okay.
And then career exploration. So we don't want these kids to just fall off of the conveyor belt of graduation because they will be...
Here's your diploma. Good luck. See you later.
Exactly. They
Right.
will be our community. They're going to be in our community, and this isn't where the help ends. So what we really want is to set them up for success. So we pair them up with people who are helping them to set goals for themselves that are both realistic and ones that will have a fulfilling life for them. And so we're working on that, and that gets to be an individual project because it's a one-on-one
Sure.
with the coach and student. So.
Right. But that's great. And that means that, they kind of feel like they're not just left hanging after graduation, that there is still help
Right.
or guidance, or that this coach just is going to be there. And I imagine some of these kids and coaches have pretty long-lasting relationships. I know it's still kind of early, but
Yeah.
is that what you see?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be a coach both times, and I still get to I still talk with the kids that I coached, and I'm still just a phone call or a text away if any of them ever have any questions or run into things that they don't know how to do. Just a few weeks ago, I was able to help one of them set up a bank account because they didn't know how to do that, and it was a really awesome opportunity because they were able to get into San Juan College and they were able to apply for financial aid, but it was something that I would take for granted.
Sure.
But it's great to be able to have somebody now in the community that she can reach out to and say, hey, what do I do with this check? And it's just one thing that is so easy for somebody in the community to solve, It's so easy for me to point her in the right direction, and I really just helped her stay on track. It's just small little acts of caring and of encouragement that make a huge difference.
Right. And so now we're seeing the first bit of data from Farmington schools and
Yes.
Farmington High School about how well this is working with these students, correct? And can you share some of that with us too?
Yeah, and I don't want to take credit for. I don't want to take credit because
Okay.
I know that it's a huge effort. There's so much going on with the schools. However, it is so exciting that we found out that FHS graduation rates they now exceed the statewide number.
That's right.
I think last year just over 83% of the class graduated. And again, it's such a complex way that they figure that out.
Sure. But that's up from what you were telling us at the beginning of the interview, 66. So that's
Yeah.
quite a significant increase.
And last year in numbers was FHS's largest graduating class since PV was created.
Okay.
So that was exciting.
It'll be
to
an
get
exciting
to.
milestone too. Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Just knowing that we got to help with 34 of them
Right.
makes a big difference. And it was just, the community getting together and trying to do something about it.
Sure. So how can the community help continue to do what you're doing? I know there's a need for more graduation coaches. Now the school year's already started, so does this mean you have to sign up for maybe next year, or can you
Yeah.
always use people, or what's the situation?
Well, we've got a lot of grad coaches right now, and they've been paired with their students for this year. But there are so many other ways that we need help, and we're kind of learning as we go. This is really a community collaboration, which is the innovative part of it. It's just us being creative, thinking outside of the box, and figuring out what we can all do from our corners to solve the problem. So we know that there's more need, and that we can do a lot more with more people. So I don't know exactly what to call for, but anybody who wants to get involved, we'd love to have them.
So they can call you at United Way?
Yes.
And just ask what you need and
Yeah.
or get put on a list maybe for next fall or what have you, right?
Yeah.
Because it's something you want to keep growing, is it not?
Absolutely. We really hope that soon we'll be able to extend this to all of the high schools in the area. And in addition to just this, we've been able to find several other needs that just come up and you learn about when you're working with students in this group.
Right.
And one of those needs is the food pantry. So every high school and every school has a food pantry, and I would just urge everyone to consider thinking about stocking up their school's food pantry. Call up the school your kid goes to or the one nearest you and ask if they've got any needs. And I know that typically they need things that are individually packed and high protein, high fiber, as healthy as you can get, shelf stable type stuff. Because there's a lot of kids who come to school, and school is where they're going to get fed twice a day, and that's the primary reason for so many kids. And we don't want that to be the case, but we want school to absolutely be able to provide all of the services that are necessary for these students to be able to do well. So that's just one thing that we can do as community members at any time is,
Sure.
bring over some snacks or food.
Okay, good to know. And I think for a lot of folks that are maybe listening to us this morning or watching us this morning, this is so maybe foreign to them of thinking that a child could show up at school and not have had breakfast, or doesn't know if they're going to have dinner when they go home at night. It's such a different lifestyle and situation for some of these kids that are living in our community.
It's really true, and yet it's not that rare. So unfortunately, in San Juan County, it's just a little over 1 in 4 kids face food insecurity on a regular basis. And food insecurity is defined as not knowing if you're going to get to have 3 meals a day.
Right. Okay. It's that high.
It's that high.
Okay.
And number-wise, it's just shy of 10,000 children.
In San Juan County. We're not talking about
San
the
Juan
state.
County.
This is local. Okay.
In San Juan County.
Yeah.
Why
Those
we
food
do
pantries
this.
are very important. That's also what you're saying.
They're very important. And really, this is one of the reasons that we do grad coaches, is to get to the root of the problem, because we're not we're not looking to solve the educational system or failures of this and that. This isn't a one-size-fits-all. Truly, we're here to help these seniors that, a lot of the great work that's being implemented early on to help students succeed that face a lot of challenges at home, it's not going to get to them. They're going to have graduated or dropped out by the time the system changes for them. And so we want to give them a chance, and we want to catch them in a way that we can give them some stability and show them some safety in the community. And, there's a lot that we can discover by just working with the students who want to succeed, and yet they have just roadblock after roadblock after roadblock put ahead of them, and
sure,
we can teach them how to knock them down, or in some cases we can knock them down for them because they're unnecessary barriers.
Right, and that's, I guess, a great way to kind of wrap up our conversation this morning, in that having these people, these resources, these grad coaches available can knock these things down, whereas if they weren't available, the kid would just run up against them and maybe give up, quit, drop out, I can't do it, the end. And this is what makes it so different and so empowering for them.
Yeah, because truly, these students, they might be super frustrating today for somebody to deal with if you feel that, you just can't help them. But they're going to continue growing. They're going to continue being in our community. And these services that we need to continue providing will continue to be there, but the need will be increased. And so if we can help people earlier on, the need will hopefully dwindle as they grow.
Right.
So.
Well, and they learn to be more self-sufficient too, I would think.
Teach a man to fish.
There you are. There it is. I've heard that before. So perfect. If folks would like more information, Cathryn, can we call you at United Way?
Absolutely.
What's that number?
505-326-1195.
There you go. Cathryn Abeyta, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. That is Cathryn Abeyta with the San Juan County Grad Coaches Program working at Farmington High School. My guest here on KSJE. Back with more in just a moment, everyone.